Good morning. Oh shoot, hello, taking pictures. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me start that again. Good morning. Just wait for Instagram to kick in. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are flashing on and off. The lights are bright, the lights are dim. So good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jamie. Good morning, Audrey. Let me make sure everybody's signing in. Good morning, Duck. Hello, Scott. Greetings. Hello. Hello. So the light's bouncing around a bit. If I do this, it goes bright. No, it doesn't. Okay. So I wanted today to... this Monday Mantra is a little bit different. It's a little bit different because this week, is a very, very special week for me. And I want to kind of set the tone because this is not in any way, shape or form. Good morning, Gustavo. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Pay. Good morning, other Michael. This is not in any way, shape or form self-congratulatory. How fabulous is Pete? No, none of that. That is all nonsense and it will not be discussed because I don't think I'm fabulous at all. I'm just a worker amongst workers. And that's really what I want to touch upon today because as many of you are now aware, and forgive me because I normally don't bash things, meaning I don't over promote, but I'm going to be over promoting this week because I have a show coming out on Netflix with a wonderful co-host, Genevieve Gorda, who I'll be doing the show with. And it's a show about progressive real estate, Airbnb focused and yada, yada, yada. But you can I'll put the links in all that stuff if you're on Facebook below. On Instagram, you're going to be seeing as well. But the whole point of today is that cryptic little title. Well, it's not that cryptic. That cryptic little title that I posted everywhere, which is an overnight success, 15 years in the making. I was doing the calculations last night, and I actually got into the real estate business in 2005. 2005, so it's actually really only 13 years in the making, but who's counting? Because I'm certainly not. So I'm going to start from the result and then I'm going to work backwards. Okay, so the result is, and I'm not going to keep mentioning this throughout because I don't want it to be, nauseatingly backslapping. That's not what this is. I'm going to start from the result. The result is this. The result was managed to get a show on massive network. It's going to be coming out globally. What will that do for my life? I have no idea. Will it do something? Will it do nothing? Will it change it irreversibly? Only time will tell, and I'm comfortable with whatever the good Lord throws at me. So, how this came about was, in real estate terms, and I'm going to go back a little bit as well. How this all came about was, it came about through grim determination when there was no glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. Now, I don't want to paint a bleak picture because it wasn't bleak. But what this was, it was a strategy that was completely and utterly designed not to get a TV show, but I wanted to find the white space in the real estate market which was not occupied. And if you think about that, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go be a dentist. How can I be a dentist that's really different to everyone else? It's really hard, right? Fortunately, I came out of the music business where people are always kind of looking for a creative angle to make themselves stand out. And so the tools that I learned in that industry really helped me in real estate. Now, 13 years is a long time. And if we kind of respectfully remove the TV show out of the equation, let's just talk about kind of like the progression of what happened. Because it's taken, I keep doing this, that's 8, but boop, boop, that. It's taken 13 years for this strategy to unfold. And so I want to underline one of the most important principles of any strategy, especially when working for yourself. And as real estate agents, we're all working for ourselves. Even when we have our license at another company, and hopefully that company is a badass like PLG, but even when we have our license under another firm, we're still essentially our own boss. We make our own hours. We work when we want to work, which is all the time. And And so I wanted to roll out a strategy. I wanted to find some white space, which in my case was, it didn't start like this. It was a whole series of trial and error, but I'm going to get into that in a second. Around maybe 3-5 years ago, maybe a little longer, I discovered the innate desire to want to do video. I did my research on who in the real estate industry was really doing video, and it was at that time pretty much kind of zero. Hang on, let me just turn that. It went off. It was pretty much about zero. Do me a favor, anybody who's watching on Instagram, can you just send me a message saying that you can still see it? Because my screen is black. I can see the names. I saw a heart go up. I wanted to find the white space and then deploy it. So for me, the white space was video. Okay, thank you. Sorry, so many messages coming in today. I'm going to stop looking at the messages. All right, so the white space for me was video. So I'm like, okay, great. Now, one thing, this is an important point. One decision was video. Okay, I want to do video. And then inevitably came this. And I'm sure some of you can relate to it, which is, okay, I want to do video, now what? And I was utterly baffled about what to do. And so I started researching, and I couldn't really find anything, and there really wasn't much around. And so I took the first step, and the first step for me was doing Magic Minutes, right? I'm like, okay, the real estate industry, surely there are people out there that want to know about what escrow is, what inspections are, what this, that, and the other are. No, I was really doing it more toward agents, not towards buyers and sellers. And lo and behold, I put it out there, and the first few are really kind of shaky, and I'm really wooden. And then one day, I'm actually gonna play for you. Maybe I'll put it up online after the Netflix show goes live. I might put up online my very, very first video, which if you've ever heard me speak at a conference, it is embarrassing. It is horrendous. It is the most blood-curdling disaster you have ever seen. But I marched through it, and so then I started deploying this pattern of doing video because I saw that nobody else was doing it, and I kept rolling it out and rolling it out and rolling it out. Here is the next point that I want to make. The next point I want to make is this, which is I rolled it out and it was really exciting and people were watching it and and then I plateaued. I hit a plateau. Some of you have heard me say this, but I had 50 followers and I'd put out 50 videos. That's a lot of videos just to have 50 followers. But that little voice in my head said, keep going, Pete, go for it. And so I kept doing the videos because in my gut, that inner voice that we all have, and so many of us kind of ignore or get frightened or get scared and then run in a different direction, that little voice inside me said, you're doing the right thing, you got to stay the course, you got to go for it. Patience is massive in this, absolutely massive. And really, the video didn't take hold until maybe after a year and a half, maybe 18 months to 2 years of me doing videos. Now that's a commitment, but it is no different a commitment than somebody door knocking an area for 2 years, or blanketing somewhere with marketing for 2 years, or going to social engagements, sports clubs, whatever it is. The point I'm trying to make is this. Commitment isn't something you go, right, I'm going to take up judo, and then within 2 weeks you expect to have a black belt. It's never going to happen. When we roll out a strategy and whatever your white space is, maybe you can't necessarily find white space, but I'm sure every single one of you who's watching this has had some ideas about how to improve your business, right? And thought, ooh, I wonder if I could do that. Now, if it's legal, I say have a crack at it. You have got nothing to lose. Here is what destroys people's... What destroys ambition more than anything else. It's fear of what people will say. Frankly, in the words of whoever it was, I don't give a damn, famous movie quote. Thank you, somebody help me with that. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. I've never really cared what people say. I don't really care because I'm not a dick, right? I'm not trying to step on heads. I'm not calling people out. I'm not trying to hurt people. I'm not like a Nazi supremacist, all that nonsense. So everything I do, I believe in, so I don't really care what people say. This is a massive, massive hurdle for you. Thank you very much, Bogart. Thank you. A massive, massive hurdle for us all to get over. Let me just encapsulate that in a couple of sentences. You all have a little mini entrepreneur living inside you, right? We all got it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in real estate. We've all got a little mini entrepreneur living inside. What I want to shout from the rooftops is, listen to it. Even if you think it's a lunatic, even if you think that little mini entrepreneur that lives right in here is talking nonsense, at the end of the day, there is no one that has got your best interest like you. You have got nothing to lose other than the opportunity. I'm going to give you a classic case, right? For you guys in real estate, this is what this is. We have all worked with buyers. The whole of the United States has been in an ascension for years. You've worked with everybody who's in real estate, who's been in the game for 2 or 3 years. You probably worked with a buyer back in the day that said, oh, I don't really want to spend $500,000 on a house right now. And you tried your very, very, very best to say, listen, we're in a market that's appreciating. You don't want to pay $515,000, which is, let's just pretend you got a counter offer at $515,000, and now that house is worth $650,000. This is the point I'm trying to make with your little mini entrepreneur, right? Listen to it, roll out ideas, because the very worst that can happen is you go back to where you are right now. You've got nothing to lose. Okay, I'm going to go back in time a little bit about how I got into the music business, right? I had that little entrepreneur that happened to be a lot bigger than it is when I was 15. And that entrepreneur in me, forget entrepreneur, because that's such a trendy word. That inner voice said to me, Pete, you have got to give it everything you've got to get into the music business, or you will kick yourself for the rest of your life, right? You will absolutely kick yourself for the rest of your life. So I took my life into my hands. I left my hometown at a very, very early age, ran off to London to seek my fortune in the music business. I didn't know a soul. I worked in every shit house job there was. I washed dishes, I cleaned floors, I was a security guard. Not that security guards are bad, none of these are bad jobs, but I did everything that you could imagine. I was a plasterer's mate. I did anything and everything I possibly could because my pride was never going to stand in the way of my success. And I managed to carve my way over time and relentlessness into the music business, and I had a really thriving career in the music business, which, has lasted me until this day. I still speak to my mates in the music business, and I was very, very lucky at what brought me to the States, and it was just that relentless determination and not worrying about what people thought and never being too prideful to do anything. I remember working in studios that would make you puke, but I'm like, well, I'm in my business, I'm working, I'm going to keep my head down because I believe in the goal, and the goal is I want to have hit records. And long story short, I had a whole bunch of hit records. Then when I got into the real estate industry, same thing, right? I was like, I'm going to keep my head down, I'm going to keep grinding. My end goal is this. I always wanted to have my own brokerage, which was focused on creatives, both agents and clients. And I'm like, that's the end goal. The end goal is this. I don't care if I have to show people a tool shed on the freeway. I will do it. I will work Sundays. I will work nights. I will do this. I will do that. I will do the other. I really didn't give a toss. And I came out of an industry where I used to be flown around the world to DJ. I didn't even tell anybody in real estate that I used to be in the music business because I had my eye on the prize so much. And I was so determined to carve my way that I just wouldn't allow this to get switched off. I wouldn't allow the demons to come out. I'm going to give you a phrase that I've used for my whole life. It's called the debating society. Mine lives right here, right? It's a bunch of old men And they all live between my ears, kind of nestled in the back of my neck. And every time I have an idea, you know what they all say? Oh, that's never gonna work. Nobody's ever gonna like that. You know what? You look stupid. You know what? You're too old. You know what? You're too young. You're too fat. You're too thin. There are so many other people that can do it so much better than you. Why don't you just give up? They all live right here. And so you know what I do whenever I have an idea? Because the other fella, I'm doing all these people that live inside me. The multiple personalities of Peter Lorimer. The little entrepreneur that lives in the front here, me and him were good. And I just do not listen to this. I do not listen to the debating society. When you listen to the debating society, you're dead. When you listen to, is it a good idea? And you start leaning back and all these other voices come in and they're like, no, it's awful, it's crap. You should just do what everybody else does. There's no point you even trying to do anything different because you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail. So that's mine. I have an aggressive debating society in my head. So I just don't listen. My debating society, or fear, is a bully. And when you stand up to a bully, what happens? They go away, right? You're in the schoolyard, the big kid comes up and they start trying to get your lunch money. What happens when you smack them in the mouth? I'm not advocating violence. These are all analogies in my mind. But when you stand up to a bully, that bully goes away and looks for someone else to pick on. Because fear, in my case, insecurity, in my case, are the biggest bullies that I have had to encounter my whole life. I'm gonna fess up with you guys right now, right? People think, oh, Pete, it's just so easy for you. You just jump in front of the camera and blah, 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 blah. It's not. I don't get racked anymore. But in the beginning, I used to be possessed with insecurity. And I used to think that everything I did was crap until I stood up to that bully as well. And I said, you know what? I don't really care if it's crap. I don't care if I'm the only one in the world that likes it. I don't care if you think the words of my former office manager at my former office were, that is the most stupid marketing campaign I've ever seen. She called, or maybe she said dumb. She said, that's the dumbest marketing campaign I've ever seen. I did this, I died a little bit on the inside, right? But you know what? I said, F you, I didn't say it, I thought it. I'm like, F you, I'm gonna do my own thing. Guess why? Because you've heard me say this is the Pete Lorimer. If I crash and burn, I've done it under my own architecture because I never wanna fail following someone else's instructions. I only wanna follow the instruction manual marked Pete Lorimer's life. And I'm not going to do it. Now, that doesn't mean I won't listen to advice and I won't have mentors and I won't do what people suggest. But it means at the end of the day, whether I succeed or whether I fail, I do it under my own volition. And I'm 1,000% comfortable with however that turns out. So finally, ladies and gentlemen, the TV show, it's like, oh, you got a TV show. But I got the TV show because I was relentless for 13 years in this industry. And that is the big, fat, juicy, gorgeous, lovely cherry on top that kind of fell out of the sky. It wasn't like I was writing off to TV shows. It just fell out of the sky. They contacted me through YouTube because I found the white space and did videos. Somebody saw those videos when they were researching for a real estate person for a show, and then they got me and they said, you got it. And that is how this came about. Not because anyone is well, I'm certainly not fabulous, my co-host is, but I'm certainly not fabulous. I'm no different to anybody out there. All I am is relentless. I'm non-fearful. Fear will not enter my business mind. It doesn't enter my life anymore. I refuse. These guys haven't spoken to me or rather, they haven't shouted at me. They still whisper often, but I just don't hear that anymore. I managed to tune these out, and then I'm comfortable with the results, whatever they may be. So for me, that is the absolute recipe for success. Hard work. You hear this from other people all the time. Hard work, patience, stay the course, meaning when you start something, you got to hang in there for at least 2, 3, 4, 5 years, right? Whatever your course is. And then self-doubt has to be smashed. Has to be smashed. And then maybe some of you will be an overnight success after 13 years. I just think that's such a good line. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, oh, that was a long one again. They're getting longer. They're getting longer. I might have to do a commercial break in the middle. Anyway, this is the BBC. We don't have commercials. If you're British, you know what I mean by that. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you got something out of this today. It's an absolute joy to be in your lives, in your professional lives. I love when people reach out and ask questions. You know, I just love it, love it, love it, love it. I thank you. Don't forget, everyone, August 17th, which is this Friday. Stay here, Netflix, send it to all your pals. Clicks count, hashtag clicks count. And I will look forward to seeing you all after this week. If anybody needs anything, you let me know. I'm here to be of service. Until next time, this is Pete Lorimer from Moscow. I'm actually not from Moscow, from Studio City. Goodbye. Thank you, Facebook.